Bill Moyers and Michael Winship have done a story about this group of financial titans, as they love to call themselves, hedge fund managers and other people working in the financial industry that have this secret gathering. It's a group called Kappa Beta Phi, and they have black tie affairs where they bring in new members, and they even do hazing. It's funny, it's kind of like a fraternity, right? But it's at the St. Regis, it's incredibly fancy. But for the new guys, they do crazy things like they make them dress in drag and do these skits. And they have a grand old time inducting people into their new, club of incredibly rich people who suck off of us, okay? Now, they would, of course, claim, oh, of course not, don't be ridiculous. But a lot of these guys not only took TARP money, not only took money from the Fed, but basically got interest-free loans, backdoor bailouts, etc. But they think they're all so clever, and their view of you is hideous. Get a load of what they think of you. One hedge fund manager, as they say publicly, oh, Occupy Wall Street, it's an interesting movement, and I think that they make some decent points. Privately, the hedge fund manager apparently said, quote, most view it as a ragtag group looking for sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, yeah, these guys, they don't have any good points. They're just looking for sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I can't believe they're bothered by the fact that we're taking taxpayer money and making billions off of it, right? But it gets worse. So in their cute little skits that they do in their, tuxedos, or I guess they're dressed in drag, some of them, the new guys that are getting hazed. One was dressed like a protester, and he was told by the others, quote, you're pathetic, you liberal, you need a bath. That's how they see you, man. To them, the 99% are pathetic, and they're dirty, and they can't be at the St. Regis at their Kappa Beta Phi induction ceremonies, please. So who are the guys there? Look, you got vulture capitalists like Wilbur Ross. You've got Robert Benmosh, who's the CEO of AIG. Now let's pause there for a second. Now AIG still owes the American taxpayer $49 billion. Now, he wasn't there when they crashed AIG, to be fair to that guy, right? But he's still getting paid millions of dollars because he's such an important CEO. And he's living high off the hog and going to these things where they make fun of protesters. But who are you making fun of? You owe us $49 billion. You're making millions of dollars from American taxpayers paying your salary. And you're going to go to these events and say, you dirty 99%ers. It's repulsive. Then you've got, of course, Alan A. Greenberg. He's the former chairman of Bear Stearns. But that's the loser that crashed Bear Stearns and crashed the entire economy with it. How dare you make fun of anybody? You're the grotesque failure that led to this economy in the first place. But to them, it wasn't a failure. They pocketed hundreds of millions of dollars anyway. When Lehman went down, Dick Fuld, who ran Lehman, walked away with about $600 million. What does he care that Lehman went down? What does he care that we lost 8 million jobs? He thinks, suckers, I got the $600 million anyway. And then they laugh at you and think you're pathetic and dirty. God, it's so frustrating. Vikram Pandit is the CEO of Citigroup. And again, he came in December of 2007. He wasn't responsible for the horrible deals that they made before that. Now, he did preside over the crash in 2008, et cetera. And he did a cute little trick where he said, until we recover and pay back the money that we owe through TARP, I will only take $1. And I thought at the time, hey, at least only he's taking $1 his salary, right? That's good. That's really good. So they repay back the TARP money. How did they do that? They got some backdoor bailouts, et cetera. They got interest-free money that they made billions off of. In fact, they took tens of billions of dollars in interest-free loans that anybody could have made billions of dollars in return from, and then they pay back the taxpayer that way. It's all a circle of money that goes around and around. So what's Vikram Pandit doing now? He got, last year, $1.7 million in base salary. That's a lot, man. That's almost $2 million. Oh, wait a minute. He also got $3.7 million in deferred stock. Oof, we're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about nearly $6 million now. Oh, wait a minute. He also got, and I love this one, $16.7 million for a retention bonus. We need to retain Vikram. I mean, come on. He did such a great job of taking free money and turning it into money for his fellow executives. He needed a retention bonus. What are we up to? We're up to about $22 million so far. Oh, but wait! He also got $6.5 million in stock options. I'm beginning to lose track, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $28 million he got. What a cute little trick he did earlier. Oh, yeah. I was just taking $1 that year. Next year, I'd take $28 million. Where's the dirty liberals? Now, to be fair to Pundit, he's a guy who at least is savvy enough publicly to say that Occupy Wall Street has some decent points. But if they have such a good point, Vikram, why don't you stop taking the interest-free loans from the Fed and in all the different ways that you suck money out of the government? Look, it's one thing to be rich. Nobody's got any problem with that. We've been over it a million times. It's another thing to get rich off of us. It's a third thing to get rich off of us when you were a failure. And it's another thing to be a failure, to get rich off the taxpayer, and then to rub people's face in it. Go to these fancy events and call, the protesters who are bothering to complain about how we ripped you off. Ha ha! You guys are dirty and pathetic. Now that takes it too far, man. Way too far, especially guys like Ace Greenberg. What an ace he was at Bear Stearns, that were so grossly incompetent and endangered all of our livelihood with their actions. You don't get to still laugh about it. That's sick.